The few detached experts who say that she displayed a reckless arrogance here, they say you have to prove intent, and they think that's close to impossible with her. Not necessarily with her age, though. So I don't think the story is going to be settled for at least a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, if it keeps going on, I think the short term is her bigger problem, because if she can dispatch with Bernie Sanders, I think Democrats will just do whatever they need to get through the general election. And while the Attorney General and the FBI Director are both considered pretty straight shooters, this is still a complex situation where you've got a Democratic administration investigating the Democratic frontrunner. And I think Sanders, while he's played down this issue, let's see what happens in the coming weeks. There's no doubt, though, that the Clinton folks have spun this, and that the facts already known are worse than they like to acknowledge, at least in terms of being cavalier about what she did in terms of both secrecy and in terms of government accountability and potential espionage. All right, April should be a dizzy month in New York, and not just because American Psycho is finally opening on Broadway. The Empire State primary is April 19, and ahead of that, Bernie Sanders has been challenging Hillary Clinton to do the next debate in her adopted home state. Team Clinton was asked about that challenge several times today in TV interviews, and here's what seems to be Brooklyn's official response.
Speaking of New York, I thought there was a really interesting article this weekend in the Washington Post where the Sanders campaign laid out what their strategy is going to be in this primary, and they made it clear that they intend to attack Hillary. They intend to run a very negative campaign here, and it's our hope that they don't do that. You know, they were poll testing attack lines against her this weekend.
What was notable this weekend wasn't so much that, but in my mind was the Washington Post story with his own campaign talking about how they're poll testing more negative attacks on Hillary Clinton. They're talking about running harsher negatives now. We saw them run negative ads.
Don't distract here.
I think the real question is not whether we're going to debate.
Why wouldn't you debate?
Because I think the real question is what kind of campaign is Senator Sanders going to run going forward? He pumped $4 million in the weekend before March 15th, and he lost all 5 states on March 15th. They spent about $4 million running negative ads.
That doesn't have anything to do with the debate, though. Why not debate?
This is a man who said he'd never run a negative ad, ever. He's now running them. They're now planning to run more. Let's see the tone of the campaign he wants to run.
So not a lot of direct response there to the debate challenge. On a call with reporters today, Sanders campaign manager Jeff Weaver applied a little more pressure on Team Clinton.
We hope that the Clinton campaign will relent, that they will let the people in the state that twice elected the secretary to the U.S. Senate to have the opportunity to see a one-on-one debate between Senator Sanders and the secretary. You know, it's difficult for us to understand the motivation of why they would not want that to happen, why they would want to prevent the people of New York from having that opportunity.
So after that Sanders campaign call, the Clinton campaign hosted a call of its own, saying Sanders will campaign in the Empire State primary, quote, like a Brooklynite, while Clinton will campaign like the former senator that she was. So, Al, the Sanders campaign clearly wants a debate in New York State. It's pretty clear to me why they want that. Will they be able to force Secretary Clinton to agree to do their next debate before the primary in the Empire State somewhere?
Yeah, I think they will, Mark. Every day she refuses to debate is another good day for him to hammer her on it. The DNC tried to rig these debates. They ought to have a debate. But I really feel sorry for poor Joel Benenson's virgin ears. He ought to look at the other party if he thinks this is too negative. One guy is a sleaze, the other guy is a liar, and they're arguing over whose wife wears combat boots. He hadn't seen anything yet.
Every Clinton surrogate who was on television today came more in sadness than in anger in talking about the negativity of the Sanders campaign. They're trying to change the subject. It's fascinating to me that they think they're going to be able to maybe not only not debate in New York, but it seems like they're trying to kill the debates, even though they agreed to them in exchange for getting a New Hampshire debate. The main reason I think the Sanders campaign will probably win this and force Brooklyn's hand is when you ever have a debate about debates, the side the press is for generally wins. And the press would love a Gotham City showdown between these two candidates. Love.
Yeah, no, I agree. And what's the case against a debate? I mean, the idea that the campaign's gotten too negative is utter nonsense. And I think Republicans have had probably twice as many, 3 times as many debates. They ought to have a debate, and Bernie will win this. She will relent. Ought to do it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, or maybe let Bill O'Reilly be the moderator. Yeah. All right, coming up. Trump, Cruz, and the Twitter.